Martin, Leonhard, and Jay.
Hello, Julia.
Hello, Julia.
I requested to hear you, to open up the space to have you speak about the Gaian men's Bridgehouse that you just recently finished up. And I was thinking into this morning, I was thinking, what do I want to actually know from you? And what became really clear for me is that a space like this, it needs to start with nothing. So I have nothing.
You have something, Martin.
I have something.
Go.
I have a lot. It's dangerous to be nothing because then everything can come out and can be a lot. And when you are saying it, it's like, oh, I want to share one thing, and that's about how I needed this step, being with a man, being discovering actually what is inside of me, how I feel sad, how I am, to build a bridge for me, to build a bridge so I am not coming to a woman as this scared boy who needs something. I have a trust with a man. I can be sad with a man, and I don't need to have a necessity to be with a woman, to save me or be somewhere, actually to save me. I'm afraid to say that, but it is that, because I'm coming from a culture where actually woman would be the sad, woman would hold the feelings, woman would be with the feelings, and not a man. So if I would feel, there you go to mom. You go to woman when you feel. You don't go to the man. With a man, you are strong. I grew up, you are holding your anger, you are holding yourself, you are not you are everything having together. And it didn't fit into me somehow. I couldn't believe that, but somehow, yes, it happened. So I needed to be discovering what I feel with a man. So I'm breaking this structure. I'm breaking this structure inside of me that if I feel, I need to go to a woman. And now I can go to a man. Now I can work with that, what is going on in me with a man. It's such a freedom, It's like I have a choice. There is no hook on, this is just only option. And then I would be just spoiling everything what is going on there, also to space with a woman. I didn't know that before you asked me that. I feel joy.
Thank you.
Yes, Martin, this is one of the most unknown things, stepping in, creating the Gaian men's Bridgehouse, that I did not realize would be a result of living with you two and 2 or 3 other men for 7 weeks, and really just learning to be in intimacy with men was like right from the start. You would wake up in the morning and you would come into the kitchen with this fear and wanting to sit with me and share our fears or sadness or whatever might be coming up in the first part of waking up in the day. And this really opened up the allowance of this to keep happening day after day throughout the whole day. And it's so profound, actually, the result in the end. And it's like what you speak to. There's this comfort now in me as well about I can share my whole heart and everything, my sadness and my fear, my anger and everything with a man. And what I've noticed too, it enables me to hold the space for sharing with a woman or being with a woman so much more, with so much more ease. I don't have to try and get anywhere or be anything, or can just be there without needing to get anything from the woman. And it's, yeah, amazing place to be right now.
And I want to add that I discovered that there is a deep longing inside of me to be so close to another man. And I can see this in the other men too. Like, I grew up with a father that was an alcoholist and was never at home and depressive, and he killed himself when I was 6 years old. And I grew up being raised by women, and I cannot really say what it is, but it's different being with men, and to have that experience coming really close in different ways. That means sharing my heart, saying what's really going on, and taking a man really in my arms, not just clapping on the shoulders or making a joke or something like this, but really looking into eyes of another man and seeing, like, I want to be with, experiencing that I want to be with this man. And we had adventures together in the Gaian Bridgehouse, a lot of adventures that were extraordinary or even archetypal. Like, the first thing that happened when I arrived in the Bridgehouse, that Jay was catching me up at the airport, and the place he is living, the land he is living, is like 3.5 hours or 4 hours away from the Bridgehouse. So he took all the way, and he was there. I'm coming in the morning to New Zealand, coming from Canada, and he was there already. And we started the Bridgehouse already some months online before. It started already, and I knew this man already a little bit. He was with me falling away in relating with Gabriela, and he was there already with me, so on my team and supporting me. And then I was so glad that I can see this man in person, that man that he's like, only family members would take that effort to catch me up at the airport. And it was so clear and easy for him to do that for me. And it was already this adventure, then going back in the night. And it was so clear for me when Martin came some days later, that I want to experience this myself. I want to catch up this man from the airport together, and we went there all the way again, not in one single shot anymore, but with some stops in between, going in a hot pool and stuff like that. And yeah, and also walking out in low tide. I was in the first time low tide in the ocean, walking there with Jay and the dog, with moonlight shining there, and it was magical. Only to name a few things right away from the beginning. And we unfolded.
Yeah, there was
yeah, Jake.
There was this part of this Bridgehouse, it was called the Gaian Men's Bridgehouse, so that we could be as men connecting with Earth and slowing down and being at the speed of Gaia and our hearts. That was one of the purposes, as well as the experiment of what is it like to live intimately as men together. And taking Leonhard through the bush in the first few days, he was scared of the trees and the bush, and he's like, really, like, these bushes would touch him and scratch him maybe, and he'd be like scared. And what I saw in Leonhard in this transformation over these 7 weeks, he ended up sleeping in a debris hut. Like, he built this debris hut like out of sticks and leaf matter, and then he slept in it. Yeah, and this was this stunning transformation of Leonhard, to go from this man so kind of really scared of nature and Mother Nature and Gaia, to going to just sleeping in it. And this happened because we got into digging in the dirt and going on quests across mountains and really feeling into the energetic force of nature and slowing down.
And it opened a possibility, like Leonhard's quest to build his shelter and having this experience of being in nature, and his enthusiasm to finding out how he can experience, how he can get rid of the fear that he needs to keep himself away from a nature, brought a possibility to be for me on his team. It's like the moment where he comes with the question, this is so inspiring for me. This is what I want to learn. This is what I want to be. It's like how I can be part of that. And for a long time, I didn't know. I was in my bubble. I was not knowing. I was holding on me. And there was this, I think there was one moment, happened a crack in that process when we were together. And I want to go and support him. And I just, okay, then I grab a bucket, or no, he grabbed a bucket. I said I would go with him. And he shows me how it goes. And he shows me, hey, this is what I'm collecting. This is how I'm doing it. This leaf you put and press into the bucket, and you put it over. And I had, and he asked if I can make a video for him. And it's like, yes, it's like, yes, because I want that you succeed. I want that you bring it out, that you want to, that it shines in a world that, I don't know, I can't yet remember, but this yes for other men, that he gets the experience so he can grow, was very alive in me in Bridgehouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. This graded magic, this being a yes for our impulses. I can sense in me, it's like so scary, especially when there are bigger groups, to bring myself fully in, or like, so being scared of this harshness of a man judging whatever I bring, that I would hold back. And then in this Bridgehouse, what we generated was like, okay, I bring one thing, and then man brings another thing, and I'm a yes for that, whatever, and then we co-create together. I remember we had such a heart-touching space where one man, I don't know anymore who was it, Shay, but you put your hands into the space, and I was just a yes for it, and put the hands also up like this, and then it unfolded that we are like creating a healing energy, and went all together to the dog, Kina the dog in the Bridgehouse, and sent healing energy to this dog that apparently had bladder cancer. And this dog was so shortly, it seemed like this dog will die in the Bridgehouse. And dog was not eating anymore. It was peed in its bed, and was not going out anymore. And then suddenly there was a shift happening where this dog came alive again. And it was like, wow, what happens here? This dog wants to live. It starts to eat again. It stops peeing and wow, it was so that there's something happening in such a healing container that is beyond understanding. I cannot say what happened there, but some magic happened, that even like an animal that lived with us got healed during this journey.
That was a phenomenal space around the kitchen table at the end of dinner. I don't think we'd even completely finished the soup, and this energetic ball got passed around from each of us around the table, and we each added our piece to it. And yeah, I remember before this we had a conversation about each sharing where we were on this learning spiral with something. And I'd spoken to, I'm on the learning spiral with impulses, with noticing my impulses and speaking them forward. And we went round and we did this piece, taking the energetic out into the world, into the universe, and then bringing it back. And I was sitting here by myself, like, no, I wasn't. I was sitting there in my own mind, thinking how awesome it would be to take this healing energy to Kenna, and how awesome it would be if we all like stood up and walked out into the lounge and surrounded Kenna. And I'm sitting there with this, and I'm in my own mind, I go into Kenna's stomach with my own energy. And Leonhard just somehow picks up on this impulse, and he's like, okay, now all just take a piece of this energetic ball and follow me. And he stands up and walks into the lounge and surrounds Kenna. And it's just like, whoa, it's this beautiful sadness in me, and this tear that this is possible, that this was the most intimate, energetic space I've ever been in. And it was with 3 other men and a dog. And it was, yeah, it was stunning. And we were also, like, the magician in us, like a magician in me came out, and I saw it in both of these 2 men as well. And we were going into nature, like the Tonga Park and that sort of thing, and in to visit big trees. And the amount of energy that is just pulsing through my body and out my hands is just, since then, is just off the Richter scale. Something was just opened in me, and yeah, blows me away. That not only did we get to experience this time of learning to go slow and be in our hearts and be with each other, but it's had this really on-flowing effect, like, of connection and with Earth, with Gaia, with, yeah, it's really profound.
What comes to me is that man needs to know that there is another man with him when he can experience that connection when you are speaking, Jay, or the adventure, or that the man, that man, like, you can correct that if you are like so much yes to a man, that you can correct that lonely wolf strategy in a man if you are being so much yes for a man. If I as a man, I wasn't you, sorry. If I as a man am so much yes for another man, that, and then can something happen? Because I remember we were sitting at a table with Jay and lunch, and I don't know, I only know I have a yes for him, and I feel sad, and I have a yes for what I feel. There were 2 ingredients. I have a yes for Jay, and I have a yes for what I feel. And I was speaking from my feelings, and then checking with Jay what is going on. And I just know it opened such a vulnerable space between us, where Jay could start cry and I could start cry, and then it was like this movement was happening. And yeah, it started just with these 2 ingredients I had in me. And
yeah, keep going, man.
And it's such a, it's and the men are so afraid of that. Men are in a world they're afraid. I was like, man, I don't know, I can speak for me, and maybe yes. And I was afraid of being like so much yes for a man and feel with that what I feel. Because if I'm so much yes, like, will he anytime leave me? And it started this wound in me, and I was young, that a man would leave me and would be not even present there for me. So I needed to build and the muscle to be yes for a man. and it scares me. Like, it scares. Interesting. I don't want to go into this fear. I want to go into different fear. It's yeah, because you will feel fear. Like, the man built such a structures. I built such a structure. Another man built such a structures to protect himself. And he might shoot, like he might shoot so much, or he might go away. And I'm kind of discovering it later, like how men are, they're really protecting themselves to be this lonely wolf. How much I and other men build it, a protection layer to just keep themselves safe where they are, because what they feel inside, it's such a precious. And anytime you would say it and show it to other men, you get smashed by the survival strategy, by this wall, by this whatever, like by this energy. And it's like, okay, like, so these are the two survival strategy, but there is this other way of I can connect with a man. And I've noticed that, yeah, I have this, I am not that protection mechanism. I am, because I have a heart and I want to speak with you with a heart. And I think you, Jay, and you, Leonhard, you needed to have the same thing. You needed to have the same yes. Otherwise, this would not be possible. Otherwise, I would not meet you. Because if you would have a yes for this survival strategy, for this protection, for this wall, you would not have a yes for me. And so this is the yes.
I love hearing you, and I'm touched. I notice my sadness and my conscious fear to hear you, and I wonder, like, how did you get there? I know that all the three of you have been on your transformational journey for a while, but how did you get? This is maybe more practical, but how did you get there personally with your journeys, but also really practically? How did you set up such a space where this became possible, what you just shared?
The first part is, it started for me by disintegrating the armor that I had built around my own heart as survival and protection mechanisms. And that happened in various ways, and it wasn't pretty, and it was painful, and I wouldn't say it was fun, but the result is opening up a doorway to be able to be even curious, to have an open heart with another man, being curious enough of wanting it, that to actually be motivated to create a space in which it was the purpose.
I find out in me the moment where I could separate, or I would not believe that my actions are my actions. Something else is, like, something else could work. And I don't know, I think the moment happened somewhere where when I asked this question, there was many times in my life, and I asked myself question that the action, what I'm doing, are they really mine? And that started a process in me, that brought the movement. the question brought the movement in my system to discover, to find out who else I am.
Mm. What I can say for myself, that this yes that I have inside of me, that I learned this from the beginning of my life. I learned it from the shadow side of it, with adapting a lot in my life. So I have already a lot of skills to inner shift inside of myself so that I can find a yes. And the new way is to find an authentic yes, not one that is only about the other person. And I had this experience in my life already, what it can create when I'm a yes for other people. So this I brought already into the Bridgehouse from my life. And what I think what I can sense in my life, why I want to transform in general, is that I achieved everything in this linear life, like having a partner, a job where I own a lot of money, and I was still unhappy and not fulfilled. And from that part, I wanted to know what else is possible in this life. And then my journey began into searching something else, and I discovered so many things. And I wanted to find out, how can I relate with men more intimately? How can I take care of my needs without a woman? How can I create a culture where feeling is okay? How does that go with men? It's more scary to be vulnerable with a man sometimes than with a woman, because of this harshness I experienced in my life. Like when I make something that someone would say, like, have no sensitivity at all for what I'm bringing, and it totally gets destroyed, so that I need to protect myself and harden up inside of myself. And I got to know these men already before, and we agreed on how we want to live together before, and we're really clear about the context and the purpose of how we want to live together. And it created this safe vessel for me to go there. And still, I need to really consciously put that effort again to jump there again. It was so scary to open my heart again and again. There was so much things that I wanted to not bring from these habits that I created in myself that are so strong. And it is, my experience is like, it is like jumping into a cold stream of water. It's super scary to take that leap, and it's uncomfortable in the first 40 seconds, and at some time it becomes warm. And it's exactly like this. So if you rely on that and you have that experience that it gets warm, you always have to take that effort to jump in there again and again. It will never be nice in the beginning, but at some point you have built up this inside of you, this experience that there is something really worthwhile to do that. Something that going with the fear is the key to aliveness. And yeah, that motivated me to keep going. And then it was so healing and so relieving for me that I can really unfold all that stuff that I hid away, my feelings and all that stuff also that I kept away of not bringing. Also things to intervene with other men. I noticed at the beginning, like especially with you, Jay, I was like, oh, we play a little game where I don't really say what's going on, and we stay on the surface. And at some point we were just saying, okay, like there's something going on. What is this? And it was a bump there a little bit, because it did not came out so nicely at all times. Sometimes it was like destroying intimacy, and we went through it. We brought that stuff all in, and we were all willing to have a honest look at ourselves, and that really worked. So okay, I see it. There's my own part I'm carrying here, and that brought us back again, closer again, and even closer than ever before.
What, like, there's another part to your question, Julia. Like, I had quite a lot of fear with these two coming and being with me, and that I had some business stuff to navigate, and I was like sort of proposing that I just went and dealt with it, and and because I didn't want it to taint the purpose and the context of the Bridgehouse. And these two just had like, we have a yes for where you are, wherever you are. They have a yes for being with me, and this was just so relaxing in my whole system that these men were willing to have a yes for whatever was going on. And so I could relax into that, and then really be in the comfort's not the right word, but be in the place of just, wow, these men have a yes for me, and how beautiful this is. And this is the clarity and the the love that was shown, and the willingness to be on my team, and so that then set for me this stage for being a yes to everything that came along, and navigating the sticky bits, as Leonhard just spoke to, and stuff. And it's so, yeah. And the sticky bits, when you navigate through them, it makes it so much more clearer, and there's more sort of a greater connection made because of the sticky part, the messy part that's been navigated through, both, with having a yes to the intention, which for us was to learn to be in love with men. That
was the intention, to be in love with men.
Well, that was the intention that came out, I should say. I don't think that was the intention going in. That was the intention.
What's the intention?
That was the result.
The result.
That was
the
result.
I can feel that in the space.
Yeah.
And what was the intention to go in? I think that's an important ingredient when you're setting up. And Leonhard, you said already, you had certain, like, a clear context, clear purpose, clear agreements. Will you say something about some of those key elements? How did you set it up so that you would have such a clear space where falling in love with other men could happen, or being in love, being love?
I remember the moment when I built a necessity in me, to go an initiation path. Like the necessity to move from the structure where I am right now and go out was such a big, so I can kind of open and be alive, kind of created this crack inside of me, and being with this crack, and it was just, they were coming. Leonhard came, hey, there will be Bridgehouse in New Zealand. Maybe I can join. Then Jay said, oh, there will be Bridgehouse, and then I started to be in this moment. Maybe I can lean into some space, and there I will be carried by something. And I was called Tristan, another man, to ask, hey, will you organize Bridgehouse for me? Like this little boy, will you do that for me? I said, no, I'm not having a plan about it. I was just like, boom. I just got this mirror. Yes, if I want that, I need to create that. So I started, okay, and it shifted this, like, because it shifted me. I want that. And I wrote Jay, that I heard from Leonhard that he's interested in a Bridgehouse, and I want also that. I just created this, and I followed that impulse. I created a space inside of me. I want that, and it started to grow. And there was another man who had a yes, and then we said we will do a calls together, and we started to have a calls or ongoingly for online meeting online and before the physical space. And actually, in that calls, their necessity, the connection started to build up. I didn't realize, but it's even Jay brought and I brought impulses. We need to set context and how this work in a context. What do we do? How is the land? And then we started to create the brand principles for the land, or for what for the bridge house. Like, what are the bright principles we want to have there? And the space again expanded a little bit more. It started to have more realistic. Then we set the dates, and it was again more energetical space was kind of created for that we can come together. And so, yeah, I will impulse to say what are the blockages about it and happening, the fears, and and then you can see also the fears in the space which are blocking that. For example, my inner fear, will I have the moment, am I a good space holder or not? Like, may I speak that out? And I notice how this inner fear of me is blocking the capacity of the bridge house to really grow. And at the same time, it's perfect because it was perfect for the moment how it was. I needed to be with this free man, and so I can grow. And yeah, I'm getting lost a little bit from that. So maybe there's another man who can
Sounds
speak.
like you're complete for now. Yeah, thank you. What was the purpose then again, or the bright principles as part of the purpose? What did you consciously call in for the purpose of coming together?
For me, it was a healing.
It was about reconnection with Gaia and also being in connection amongst ourselves. It was about collaboration.
And there was a part too about like taking the essence of what we cultivated in the space and taking it out into the community. And yeah, how that looked, we didn't know, and but that was in our that was present from the start, really, to what can be going forward. And it was a really, for me, like how can men's culture be, and how can it be different to what is on offer? How can men's culture be when men live together with their hearts open and navigate from their hearts?
Growing together.
Yeah, and we had a piece in the Bridgehouse where we would energetically let each other know what we were doing. And each of us had a project that we were doing during the time. And like I would speak, I'm going to the shed to do some building. And so that then we were energetically in connection. And then it was brought forward to actually be more courageous and riskier and invite the other men to be on with the project, because it's easy to, as a man, for me, it's easy to go and immerse myself in a project, and I could be by myself all day doing that. So the next step was to invite the other man to join me, and he he may say yes and he may say no, but it's having the courage to make the invitation open. And this is part of chiseling away the lone wolf strategy that has really been a big part of my world. And yeah. A result from the Bridgehouse that I really lands deeply in me is that a new men's culture comes from feeling, from embodying feeling, and by being able to hold the tension of feelings within myself, this joy of life comes forward that is totally made up of a lot of sadness and fear. And even though those things can be held in me, the joy of the life energy that is available from this is really palpable. And then as a man, when I connect with another man, I'm coming from this want to be now present and finding out what is it, how are you feeling? And having been on a journey through Golden Bay and coming back home since the Bridgehouse and meeting men entrenched in modern culture living and good friends of mine even that I've known for 30 years who just have a guard up and don't have access to their heart. I'm really sad when I go forward to connect with them because there's a piece missing in their worlds, a piece that they just don't have access to. They're just not accessing their sadness and their fear, and they're hiding behind walls, and they're surviving, and they're just in drama and feeding off it. And there's another complete different way of being available by heart connection. And other men have spoken to me of, like, a couple of men have called me up and spoken to me of meeting Martin and Leonhard down in Takaka and spending time with them and speaking about the Bridgehouse, and they are like getting a new understanding of how it is to be with men because of what I speak to. Being with men that have open hearts and are moving slowly. It's really a different way of being, and I really get that if this is the culture of men that we can be creating in this world, then we could possibly really make a big difference. And
anything burning in your hearts that still needs to be said or added?
I'm looking forward to Gaian Men's Bridgehouse Mark II.
Is it brewing, or is it brewing more like, is it specifically brewing, or is it brewing more in the field?
In the field at the moment, there's a whole bunch of stuff specifically brewing, and it's not quite there yet.
Well, I hope many men find you. Thank you for walking this path and experimenting how it goes.
Thank you for
Julia.
the invitation to interview about it, Julia.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.